In this painting, I started with wet on dry technique. I use yellows, oranges, and I went over the center of the flower as well, while the brush was juicy wet and the paper was dry. The yellow colors that I used was Hansa yellow and Indian yellow. You can use instead cadmium yellow and cadmium lemon. For the center of the flowers, I use purple, and I mix my purple with burnt umber. And right now I'm adding my green background using sap green, Russian green, and adding some ultramarine blue to the mixture while the brush is wet and the paper is dry. In some areas I wetted the paper ahead of time and put my greens down there, but in some areas I just use wet on dry technique. As you can see, when I get closer to the flowers, I use the tip of my brush and I'm careful not to go over the petals. I'm gonna let this first layer to dry, and then I will go with a finer brush and another bigger brush, two round brushes with some yellows and pinks on my brush. While the bigger brush is just wet, I'm gonna add some definitions to my petals, putting some colors down in between the petals and then washing off the edges with the other brush. I also used magenta for some of the stronger values for my petals. But if you don't have magenta, you can mix permanent rose with a touch of ultramarine blue. For the center of the sunflower, I use the same color as before. This time the paper is dry and I'm putting burnt umber and purple down, and then I will use the tip of my brush to create that fuzziness to the centers, creating those edges. Now I'm working on the negative spaces in the background with my dark green. For darkening your green, mix your Russian green or sap green with alizarin red. Let that layer dry, and now I'm adding more layers of the same colors, adding more darker accents around my flowers, using the same colors as before. This final part is a finish touch. It's when I glaze over my flowers with permanent rose and over my background with ultramarine blue. Thanks for watching. Bye.